What's happening, everybody? We welcome you into another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. This one is exciting. The gentleman who is on the other side of the studio from me is genuinely one of the nicest, most giving and caring and magnanimously just good people that I have ever encountered in the high school sports realm. It's category number one. Category number two, and I don't know if you're picking up clues on who this is according to one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL, Marshall Faulk. This is one of his favorite linemen that he's ever run behind. In all of his successes, this guy was one of his favorite. I've seen this direct interaction. It blew my mind seeing the two of them talk and Marshall Faulk be like, this guy is my boy. So his athletic bona fides are good. He's also a dog owner. So our intern likes it. He's a lot it's CIF Commissioner Joe Heinz. Joe, thank you very much for being here with us.
Chris, thanks for having me.
I know it is all seasons right now, and it's happy fall season, but happy football season, man. Happy also girls football season. Happy a lot of things. There's a bunch that I want to ask you and a bunch I want to get to, but let's just start with how's CIF doing this year? How's the State of the Union?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're rolling along. As you know, we are in the past just about the midpoint of our fall sports. Believe it or not, we're about 3 weeks away from starting our fall championships. Again, it's going by fast. The beginning of November, obviously, our winter season is going to start, so we're going to have some overlap there between the winter and fall season of sports. But it's hard to believe we're all already at the end of September, going into October, and we're gonna switch and make that transition from fall to winter. But it's been great. A lot of exciting sports going on out there, all across all of our schools, both boys and girls sports. I'm really excited about girls flag football
how's that
going.
Been going?
It's been going great. I think better than anticipated.
Really?
We're
because I was going to ask for if you had to say 0 to 100, how far along is the project of launching girls flag football? You're saying it's ahead of schedule. It's doing better than you hoped.
It's doing better than we thought. We're getting more participation, more teams that have both varsity and JV teams. So it's
JV
really good.
Really?
Yeah, varsity and JV sports are going. So it's up and running. We're going to have our first girls flag football championships here in our two divisions, Division 1 and Division 2. So it should be interesting. We're still, it's growing. It's growing a lot like girls beach volleyball did. Not necessarily having a ranking system or those type of things. Figuring out power rankings to be able to set teams by division. So we start off with enrollment-based divisions, 1 and 2. Just based on enrollment, but we're hoping someone comes along with a ranking system to be able to get these going, and then we'll obviously be able to create some seating procedures and whatnot for our playoffs. But this first year
Actually,
they'll be
that reminds me of the third question I wanted to ask you about later in the show. But okay, so you're saying that so far you're happy with it.
We've
the
got
numbers
45 teams playing.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. Where are
45 out of our 130 teams are playing. And we've already had a bunch of teams that said, okay, next year we're in for sure. That
and it's
we're
not
a little
really
slow to start.
clustered anywhere, it seems. It seems South Bay, North County.
It is.
Got a ton out in the East.
City's got a full complement. We've got one Grossmont school playing. They're playing in the Metro Conference. We have a couple.
Is that Grossmont?
That's Grossmont. We have a couple Coastal Conference team that are playing in the North County. So City Conference has got a full group playing in there. So it's a good mix of 45
Have you been
schools.
out championship?
I think just about every section is doing it with the exception of the North section, I believe, and the Central section.
But you were kind of an innovator in pushing this through a little bit in terms of just taking the lead as a San Diego section, like saying, hey, we're going to embrace this.
This actually was... it generated and started in the southern section. They're the ones that brought it forward. It was unanimous going through the State Federated Council, so that was great. But all the sections have got on board, and it's growing, I think, better than most commissioners have thought.
Anything else major that you would say that people like, hey, this is a peek behind the curtain of what CIF has been up to. Here's what we're doing. Just what else is going on this fall season? As like you said, we're getting ready for championships. I know you are 24/7 busy, but you've also been busy on some big picture stuff.
Yeah, hard to say right now, above and beyond kind of the direction we're going. Just, again, our initial big pieces are making sure we have all of our championship venues and everything locked in for our upcoming fall championships. That's big for us.
Well, so let's talk about that, because I had some people in studios the last couple of days that have, you occasionally get pitchforks and torches and people coming after thinking that Joe Heinz is evil mastermind controlling CIF to take these directions where it's like, what? But one of the ones that keeps coming up is championships.
Sure.
And people see sports sometimes very hyper locally only through the lens of their sport that they are passionate about. So overwhelmingly it's football that is this conversation, but I get a lot of people being like, why do we play it at a high school?
Right.
Why don't we play them all at Snapdragon? But people also don't realize that you have to coordinate and book, 31, 32? What's the total number of sports? 28?
23 sports.
23 sports.
Yeah.
23 sports.
24 now, if you count.
Okay, so
it's probably 25 with your count.
Jesus,
girls
Joe,
flag football.
pick
So
one.
yeah,
what are we
up
talking
there,
about?
25 sports. Yeah.
Neither of us are good at math.
Right.
It's okay. Art degree, lineman. Hey.
True.
But okay, so 25 sports for a round number. Each sport has, let's call it on average, 4 divisions, and you have to organize a championship for all of those. That's 100. Right. That is literally, if you had them spaced out evenly over the years, you'd have a championship every 3 days all year long, not taking any holiday breaks, and all of them have to be at a venue, have to have refs, have to have patches, have to have banners put up on the walls, have to have and the office that you guys have is only 4 of you really working there. And so can you give the people just a rough mathematics lesson on kind of why you can't afford only Snapdragon, and or B, how many tickets we would need to sell, what kind of money we would need to raise to make that a reality?
Yeah. And to be honest, now we've actually added division, Chris. So we've added Division 5 AA.
Yes.
So we're really
been a
up
roller
to,
coaster because Army Navy had that locked up until another.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So we've got approximately 7 championships going in every sport, which is a lot. And during COVID, it obviously set us back a little bit with respect to not only the finances, and because we generate all our own revenue and our own expenses. It's all, a lot of people have the misconception like, oh, the state, everybody gives CIF this money to operate. They don't. The money we have, the money we pay ourselves with, the money we run our championships and run everything with as an organization, we generate. And a big portion of that comes through our championship revenue. And so looking at going into our championships, again, COVID set us back. We couldn't get into big collegiate venues, the USDs for basketballs or the San Diego States or the UCSDs. We had a very difficult time. So it's been a slowly but surely trekking back into being able to be at those venues. Especially in the sport of football. We took us a long time last year to get back into Southwestern, who was a normal host of all of our championship games.
And that's partially because Southwestern internally just didn't want to do it, and prices went up and everything. Just the reality isn't the same about booking a venue.
And a lot of it had to do with COVID. I think a lot of it was COVID restrictions, COVID concerns, and that was not just shared by Southwestern College. That was shared by the majority of our major college venues around the section. So we're slowly but surely working our way back. Obviously, there is a significant increase in cost when you do that. And, even having the opportunity to play a game at Snapdragon, we're very limited working around San Diego State's schedule and the number of games that Snapdragon will allow us to host there. I mean, being it's not artificial turf, it's natural grass. We're very limited. And again, schedule-wise, we work around what San Diego State's schedule is. And
even in a hypothetical best-case scenario, let's just put it in a vacuum. Say we could, over the course of 2 weekends, get all 6 football championships. Can you give the people? Do you feel comfortable giving the people just a rough ballpark number, like what what that venue fee, like what?
Without coming up with a dollar figure to share. It's a significant amount of money to host one game there.
Can I ask maybe the less delicate version of it is, can we it's a 6-figure number, right? It's not.
It's not quite that much.
Okay, but it's closing.
It's a significant number. Absolutely.
Even you think to do all 6 of the football championships or all 7 of them wouldn't be 6-figure
Oh, absolutely, it would be.
So that's what I'm saying. That to me, I'm not asking what is the open cost. I'm saying, per the people that are on Twitter saying, why can't we give all these kids the same experience? You're saying it's because we need to come up with an extra 6 figures-ish of just disposable revenue.
And it's already over the 6-figure mark when you think about having to utilize, because we use 3 venues: Snapdragon, we use Southwestern College.
100%. I was just talking about the people that are these purists that want all of the basketball championships to be at San Diego State. They want all of the everythings to be at all the nicest because that's how they did it in 1997 when Qualcomm was affordable.
Yeah. And so when you look at our schedules right now, it's very difficult where we're playing maybe one contest or 1 days of a contest at a venue. Really, the only thing we've been able to get back into on a regular basis full time for our championships is really softball at UCSD. We've held baseball at UCSD because they've been open for 2 back-to-back consecutive days. But you know,
I love both of our baseball venues.
We had to use USD because they were available 1 day. San Diego State, got back into San Diego State. Girls baseball, softball, that was awesome.
That was one of the best championship experiences.
Yeah, there was 1 day available. So our goal is to get back to those, you know, making those championship experiences something memorable for our student athletes.
To close out that line of questioning, do you feel comfortable giving us a number on average how many of your championships are even break even? Like a lot of them lose money. A lot of the smaller ones, but everything is close to break even. But not generating necessarily a ton
our
of
big
cash.
Sports, our footballs, our basketballs, our big revenue generators. But we have other sports, that we barely break even or even lose a little bit on.
So like field hockey and sports. I'm not trying to specifically call you out, but just trying to educate people. It's something like cheer championships, field hockey. There's just some stuff where you can't generate.
There are
huge amount. So
a lot of our bigger individual sports sometimes are more so than our team sports.
Yeah, and so on some of this, when we're talking about here's how they generate the revenue, you could say, all right, great, well, let's just pack Snapdragon, let's just this. It's one of those like that helps, but it's also we would hypothetically need to take that same energy and pan it out across. We need to sell out all the water polo championships, not just the open one. Right. We need to sell out all the golf championships, not just none of them. I don't actually know how that would work. That might be reckless journalism.
But yeah, they don't have any unfortunate
maybe that's how we fix the budget. Is we get a Happy Gilmore style vibe of just a fun festive party at Admiral Baker, and they never welcome us back ever again to another event.
That's for sure. But you can see as what you're talking about. I mean, there's a sport like there's where we still have to go pay for golf courses. We still have to put on those events.
You're renting the nicest venues in San Diego.
But we don't necessarily. There's no necessarily return on that because it's all really expense and no revenue generated from no ticket sales.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Depends on the sport.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. The math is really weird. Is sometimes you're just like, yes, you see. We've had overflow at Southwestern sometimes for some of those games, and you're like, oh wow, there's tons of people, but it's like you only see it through that small lens. And Joe, they see it as a master thing. So feeding into that in terms of revenue generation, I think I get also people being like, well, why isn't Gatorade, the NIL sponsor of CIF San Diego? Like, this is so much the Wild West on NIL that I think a lot of people assume that you're able to just be like, hey, I'm going to act with the same kind of impunity that the Pac-12 commissioner does, and I'm going to go sign us a badass media deal and all that. And I think you could probably pretty quickly illustrate to people some of the roadblocks between you and just being like, here's how we raise $1 million cold hard cash.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely I think an eye opener to folks that don't understand that again, we create all our own revenue, and that's we have to be fiduciary when it comes to how we operate as an organization and what our expenditures look like, and not just finding new ways to go out and generate new revenue, new sponsors, bringing new people on board. Just our patch sales bringing an increased amount of revenue for us. So there's lots of stuff that we need to do on our own, but we just can't sit back and say, hey, listen, we're just in such a perfect position because we know things are getting more expensive. We've tried to do our best to not raise ticket prices, not do those things, but venues are increasing, prices are increasing. Even using our school venues, there's lots of increased cost and expense.
On the revenue generation side, is this even something like this would be someone's full-time job? Like you would need a new person to be in the office just doing revenue generation. Like this isn't something that you can half-ass and be like, I'm going to send an email off to Jack in the Box and they're going to give us $100,000 just because we're CIF. Like this is something that you guys don't necessarily have the manpower or the kick save and a butte there, the manpower or the hours to be like out on the warpath generating revenue. So you guys are already dealing with like shout out Mission Fed, shout out a lot of these great companies that are willing to work with you, but you're already dealing with kind of, it feels like you're playing catch up anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And we do have a lot of support from the state office. And when there's interest sometimes out there of local companies potentially looking to partner or sponsor the section, we work very well with our state office who assists us in helping develop those relationships. So it's great.
But that's where it's like, to me, it feels, and hey, look, I worked with them for a couple of years as the official podcast for you guys, and I love all of them, but they being at that state level. They're just not physically here
Correct.
in San Diego to be diving in on like
and building those relationships. You're right. Absolutely.
Well, and to me, it's like we need. I'm almost saying like just community people to understand. Hey, Joe wants to work with you guys. Yeah. Blenders, you just made a bleep ton of cash. Yeah. Why can't we get a little like I'm not begging for money for you guys, but like there needs to maybe almost feels just be like a meet me in the middle vibe of like, hey, we need some community leaders out there to hear this and say, hey, CIF is a great opportunity for stuff. We just need some connections, man. We just need some help. Yeah. We just need some little bit of this. The opportunities are there. You guys, like you said, okay, the dog wants just dog products. So Petco, whenever you want to start sponsoring the San Diego Prep, but on a more serious note, like you guys are willing to work with people. Absolutely. You guys are open to all opportunities. Absolutely. It's not that you're opposed to going out and doing this. It's just that you guys, like you said, you're just a little short. It's you have no more like. There's 70,000 CIF San Diego section athletes. There's 1,070,000 problems going on a daily basis. You probably don't even know what day it is sometimes, let alone being like, yo, hey, I heard about this company in the South Bay that's like ready to spend 20 grand with. So, okay, enough said about that. Final question that I have for you comes on. You had reminded me of it when we were talking initially there. Hey, intern, chill. She wants to know if all dogs or if all mascots can be mandated to be dogs, please.
Yeah, good idea.
That's that. This is the honorary Helix Scotty of the year. But playoff selection. I don't want to talk about any single specific playoff selection because everybody does it a little bit differently. And I'm not here to complain about the math, and I'm not here to do this, that, or the other. But I've had some questions come up about what is actually the process to change or refine or alter the playoff selection process. And I was hoping that you could maybe explain to people that that's something that has to go through the league reps, the voting, just what is some of the framework that, hey, if you guys out there are like, we want to fix the football playoffs, here is a responsible way to actually channel that energy in terms of how to get that, maybe not guarantee, say, hey, yeah, if you talk to these people, this will happen, but doing the conversations with these people versus on Twitter will actually be infinitely more closer to being productive.
And so any specific change to our bylaw, because that our specific seating procedures for all of our playoffs, for our team sports, individual sports are different, but for our team sports, any specific language that's in there is in the bylaws, and any change to a bylaw would need to specifically come through a respective league or conference, bringing that forward to whatever specific change or methodology they want to use. And then, it would need to come through that respective conference. And then once it goes to that conference, then it comes to a full vote through our governance. And obviously input from the advisory committees to those respective sports that are included in that. But then ultimately it goes to our coordinating council, which is our recommending body. It'll go through a first read and then through our full governance, and then it'll come back around for a second read. And so anything or any proposed changes to our bylaws or any seating procedures for our playoffs, again, would have to be voted on and agreed upon by our board of managers.
But the reality is that whoa, sorry about that. Mike was off, was scolding the intern. And the reality of that, though, is that you're down. Like, you're not opposed to any of these changes. You largely want to just be a reflection of the will of the people.
Correct.
And if the people come to you through the right channels and say, hey, 87% of us want to do this with beach volleyball. Right. Here's how we do it. We vote on it. So is that say grassroots campaign starts today? Is that a 1 year from today we could have the football fix? Sorry, that's the wrong word. But like is that explain to people when maybe the league rep opportunities even exist for it? How could that be 2 years? Is that a 5-year change?
It just depends on when it comes to our governance. Okay. And it would start again like from a respective conference would come through, and then the first read, second read process to our governance is 2 meetings. So once it comes through and is put on our actual agenda as a first read item, then again, it would be that first meeting, then a second meeting to approve any changes that are done to any bylaw. And
not something that you will call a specific meeting for to adjust this one thing. So you got to hit it at the right intervals. Correct. But something that you're saying 100% is well within the feasibility of doable. Correct. If it is properly communicated and voted on and all that kind of stuff. Correct. And you have no objections whatsoever.
Well, obviously, we have to look at it from a assistant commissioner, because really we have our input and be able to share, yes, the commissioners are in favor or not in favor of it. But really, if it's something that's gone through, it makes sense. It's, again, for the betterment of the sport, and all of our schools are in favor of it. Typically, assistant commissioner.
Yeah, sure. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot for being like, will you endorse this?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to maybe to communicate to people that Joe, the way that his job seems structured, at least to my understanding of it, is you are there to service the bylaws. And you are given, here's the green book, here's the way to run this, here's how you do this, here's the scope entirety of your power and your objectives on a day-to-day basis. And you just are operating within the parameters that you're given. Absolutely. And to the fullest of your ability. And you're not going out there being like, oh, we're going to push forward because football needs my attention, or because this needs my attention, and I think that this is how we need to do it, or I'm going to say no to this because, so that's where I'm not trying to pin you down on any one specific thing, but just trying to say that, like, Joe is down. He wants to help. He wants to be a reflection of your voices, and that's the process. I think he explained that very concisely. Find your league reps. Find your other people that you want to get on board with you and start this as a real process. Absolutely. Are the dates for those meetings available publicly for people to find on?
Our calendar's online on the calendar. For our meeting calendar. Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah. See? There, it's not a lack of transparency. Everything's on there. You just got to know where to look, and it's just got to be communicated. So, Joe, I appreciate you coming in here. Thank you very, very much. I will see you. What do we got? What's the first of the fall championships? Is it
first of the fall championships? There's
golf?
Tennis and golf are coming up right off the bat. They'll be the first ones coming.
Oh, so then I won't see you at tennis. I'll see Ron.
Yeah,
it'll be a cold day in hell when Ron gives up hanging out at the tennis finals in lieu for someone else. Well, I guess Ron, I'll see you in a couple weeks, and I'll see you maybe one of the golf or something like that. Joe, thank you everyone for tuning in. And look, if you got stuff, hit them up. CIF SDS on social media, on the website. They're accessible. They want to listen. They want to hear from you guys. Talk to you soon.